We're live. How's everybody doing? Hope you caught my last night's rant on Crowley. How he allegedly messed up his Boleskine house right and his desert adventure with Corazon, the Dweller of the Abyss. Did he make some mistakes? Now, my last YouTubes, I guess, are kind of ranty. But hey, we're having a good time. Hope everybody can hear me. I'm going to be talking about Kent Bain or S.K. Bain. S.K. Kent Bain. Kent Bain, author of Most Dangerous and the Most Dangerous Book on the World. He's got another one out, Blackjack. I'll get into more detail as the week goes on, but as I had mentioned in some of these YouTubes, some of my YouTubes from way back were I don't know if I put in the liner notes of all of them or some of them by the work of Kent Bain. I have one that shows eerie music to this town in the Bronx of the Spinal Devil. That's totally from Kent. A lot of the creepy ones about the 9/11. I don't want to lead you astray, but I'll give you my general take because it's been a while since I've read them. But I'm going to reread pretty soon. It's got to do with. I think he's primarily inspired by the fact that he had worked in the major media for various neoconservative publications that may or may not be connected to what is known as the cryptocracy or the shadow state, or by many names, the deep state or what have you. But he goes more into the extremely speculative magic, if you will, occultism, and taking a look at possible synchronicities that have happened from devastating events, the fact that they may be more to them, was there an element of psychodrama involved in them. Even so-called ordinary citizens sort of pick up now on, is this fake news? Because when I was thinking about doing this streaming YouTube, I was thinking about in some of his introductions when he was going into the media and the development of Project of a New American Century and a lot of think tank stuff, a lot of pro-war stuff, that the news now is now a character in the consciousness of people. We would think that the news is supposed to report the news, events happening, good or bad, and they tell us the news, but the news is now the news. The news is the factor. That's why some people say fake news. Both Trump and his detractors are now using it. He might have been the first to really send it into the public consciousness. Now, I would say that the reason why I like his books, because as you can see, I attempted to make some videos about observations that probably we've shared together or arrived at. But here's some of mine. Admittedly, I just drew up stuff for art effect. That's why people are like, why do you got a picture of Britney Spears with a snake? What does it mean? No, and a lot of these YouTubes, they don't mean something. A lot do. I just thought that would be the fun of it, that if people have checked out books like Kent's, books like Secret Societies and Psychological Warfare, M.A. Hoffman, and the cryptocracy stuff, and Kent's books, which would be Most Dangerous Book in the World, 9/11 as a ritual, and most dangerous. And he's got the latest one, I think, is Blackjack. So yeah, I mean, I deliberately over time put up a bunch of locations that reminded me of that. And he might disagree with me. I think one of his messages, actually, even though his books are really paranoid and spooky and have a lot of synchronicity, he also has in place sometimes where the structure, if there is such a secret state involved in occultism, which I think a lot of people think there's something up with it, right? Sometimes the paranoia is unjustified, so it's a reverse. So he's got a lot of spooky stuff in his books, but I notice sometimes it's not all about that. It's about sometimes creating a scare that isn't there, which is interesting. So it's and as he points out, quote unquote, in his first book, not everyone is asleep to the darker machinations of reality. So yeah, we obey laws that are created by other people believing what is in our best interest. So I'm quoting directly from Most Dangerous. He's commenting on that there is a consensus reality. That's what Robert Anton Wilson, who he himself was an absurdist and an occultist. So I've been streaming a lot lately about Crowley, the Magic Man. In his first book, he goes into a lot of the occultism of Crowley, 9/11, and the numbers associated with it that people have come across. And then he went on to do another one, Most Dangerous, that had to do with the Boston Marathon bombing and the Kennedy assassination. He pointed out that, very strangely enough, there was a mysterious fire at the Kennedy Library the same day as the horrific Boston Marathon bombing event. And details that are forgotten or ignored. One of the things I find most interesting is his references to synchronicities that occur and other elements like practical joke stuff and weirdness associated with some of these events. Is there anything to the stuff he's writing? It's a fair question because a lot of it gets very weird. Is it spiritual? Is it synchronicity? Is it just human nature to think strange things regarding horrible events? So he definitely goes into the different Crowley rituals that he observed that could have possible connections to the September 11th attacks. And remember President Bush reading the strange goat book at the school. I think what is disappointing is that all these things are not. There's no discussion about these things. It's all relegated to conspiracy theories and complete nut jobness, which is in some cases justified. But there is free speech somewhat left in America under the First Amendment. So this week I'm going to be going into this stuff. I'm going to leave links to the videos that I've done nationwide and worldwide that have some of the parallels. In Most Dangerous, his second book, there's some hilarious dark stuff, strange connections to very bad events, like when there were anthrax letters going into government officials, the strange synchronicity connections that were actually reported in GQ, which I guess is an acceptable magazine of the cryptocracy. That there indeed were involvement of Elvis personators. Very much synchronicity type things that related to Graceland, the movie with Kurt Russell and Kevin Costner as Elvis impersonators. And so I'll make comments on that throughout the week as I recheck this out. But this is complex, so I decided to do a preliminary streaming YouTube about this. But I found his books to be most enjoyable, and as you can see, again, I had some of them in mind when I was going around the country, and some locations I had heard about from many other books and sources. I'm going to do a book review of the architecture, the occult book reviews of several books on occult architecture throughout America as well, coming up. So stay tuned. It looks like I got a good solid base now of 40 listeners. Hope you're enjoying. But and I'm also going to add my 2 cents about what I think magic energies and rituals connect into what he's saying about. Because magic, one of the definitions of magic that Crowley gets into is you're trying to will these synchronicities, and there's also magic that is like produces like, and bending coincidences and synchronicities to your will. I think he goes into that, but I'm just voicing my take of what he was talking about, which is extremely highly speculative and weird, but people observe it. I would caution anybody who's reading his books or my YouTubes or into the stuff yourself to keep based in reality. Never harm anyone. Don't get too negative. Keep it based in reality. But at the same time, don't doubt that there are spiritual things that exist. Jungian type synchronicities that exist, which means you have to try to keep things positive and have your brother's goodwill and good intentions with people the best you can. Because hey, you don't want to send out any negative vibrations. Truly, I do realize that too many of my YouTubes a little bit on the negative side. The vibrations, take that for what you will. Keep them, give them a balanced look and a balanced view, as well as all these books by this great author that I'm going to be streaming about over this week. So shout out to Kent. Your books are excellent. Your fans are out there, brother. Talk to you guys later, and let me know in the liner notes what you think of this stuff, and if you've read these books, what's your impression. Peace out. Talk to you guys later.